Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, Daisy Ridley has spoken up about the backlash to The Last Jedi and the toxic fandom and all that kind of stuff. Now, I want to point out this video here is not me doing some kind of smackdown on Daisy Ridley's opinions here, because to be fair, you can see that she is making an effort to extend the olive branch to the fans, and that's really what it's all about. I've always said, this whole backlash online thing, it's about respect. It's not about money or gender politics or any of that stuff. It's about respect. You don't get to insult your fans for not liking your movie and still expect them to be on board with you. Just doesn't work. And in her comments here, she does much better than she did previously with her comments about the whole Mary Sue issue. I don't know if you remember that, but when she finally responded to the Raise a Mary Sue thing, she basically just said, it's sexist because you wouldn't say that if it was a man. Just completely missing the point of what a Mary Sue actually is. Just a huge swing and a miss on the entire issue. So to her credit, she does much better here. But as you'll see, some of her views, while they seem to be fair, they're very much one-sided. So I sort of want to paint the other half of the picture so we can get a much more rounded view of things. And also some of her views, again, not a personal attack on her, some of her views regarding the nature of the internet seem to be a bit naive and misinformed. And this is not just her. I've noticed this with a lot of celebrities. They don't seem to understand the internet, but I'll get into that when we get to it. So in response to a question she was asked about, was she surprised about some of the backlash against The Last Jedi, she said,
I wasn't surprised, no. It's just a different thing. Everyone's going to have an opinion now anyway on the internet, but I also think it's fair. If people hold something incredibly dear and think they know how it should be and it's not like that, it's fair for people to think they were done wrong.
And I agree with her, and this is good, this is progress. She's not just out of hand dismissing any criticism as trolling or hating on women or any of that kind of stuff. And if Rian Johnson had just said this type of thing in response to the backlash to The Last Jedi, I don't think the backlash would have really happened at all. But instead, he decided to take a different route, and we'll get to that. She went on to continue,
It's great that people are expressive of their views. I was at my friend's birthday, and one of her friends, who I barely know, was like, hey, really liked the first Star Wars. Didn't really like the second one, and I thought, that's rude, dude. That's my job. People worked really, really hard on that thing. I think there's a way of having a discussion that isn't so vicious.
Okay, well, as Thor Skywalker has very accurately explained in his video on this, just because you work hard on something doesn't mean you should be above criticism. I mean, if someone owns a restaurant, no matter how good your food is, someone's always going to complain. It's just the cost of running a restaurant. And you don't get to say to that person, hey, I worked really hard on that meal. It's just the way it is. I can work really hard on a video. I think it's great, but if people don't watch it, I'm not going to get angry at my subscribers. The fact that people work hard on something doesn't mean it should be less criticized or not criticized at all. But here's where we get to her naivety and her one-sided view of this. I think there's a way of having a discussion that isn't vicious. Yes, there is a way of having a discussion that isn't vicious, and it cuts both ways. Of course, Star Wars fans are going to talk a bit of trash on the internet from time to time, but Rian Johnson also acts pretty vicious. He also calls people man babies who don't like his movie, and he attacks them, even in many cases where the people are just kind of giving constructive criticism, but he calls them man babies, calls them misogynists. That's pretty vicious as well. I mean, if you want to condemn one side for being vicious, you have to also turn around and condemn Rian Johnson for being vicious towards the fans. For those of us on the internet, we all know the basic rule, you don't feed the trolls, but for people in Hollywood, they don't seem to understand this. If you push negativity out into the internet, you're gonna get it back tenfold. I mean, if Daisy Ridley was to be fair about this, she would not only condemn us, but also condemn Rian Johnson for what he said, but of course she's not gonna say that, because then she could basically say goodbye to her career after that, so I'll say it for her. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And also this sort of Rodney King attitude towards the internet of, can't we all just get along? It's very, very naive. I've said this before, I'll say it again. The internet is a force of nature. It cannot be controlled, it cannot be bargained with, it cannot be reasoned with. The internet is going to do what it's going to do regardless of what you think it should do. When I made a video trying to explain this to celebrities, I noticed a few people people in the comment section like, why can't you show some sympathy for people of color who've been run off social media because of all the hate and blah, 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 blah. And my response is, yeah, I can have sympathy. Like, if a person gets caught out in the rain without an umbrella, I have sympathy for them, but I'm not going to start shouting at the sky and trying to lecture the sky of like, you need to be less mean, sky. Stop raining on people. I mean, that'd be a pointless exercise. And it's just as pointless as trying to lecture the internet to be polite. I mean, if you're waiting for the internet to stop being vicious and be polite, you're going to be a very old woman, Daisy Ridley, before that happens. You'll probably die before that happens. The internet is a cutthroat, vicious place where everybody in the world goes online to let off some steam from their terrible job that they work and their boss that they hate, so they go online and they shout at some stranger and they feel kind of better. They have a bit of fun. That's why you shouldn't take the internet too seriously. People say stuff on the internet they would never say to you face to face, and half of the time they don't even mean it, or it's some 12-year-old kid who's just trying to be edgy. So don't expect the internet to stop being vicious. And as well, you gotta take the good with the bad. This is another sense of this sort of entitlement that these celebrities have. Everything in life comes with a bill. One of the best things about Star Wars is that it's such a big brand that so many people care about. One of the worst things about Star Wars is it's such a big brand that so many people care about. If you want to take all the glory, Daisy Ridley, of being the main character in one of the biggest name franchises out there, along with that, you're going to have to take some trash on the internet from time to time. You got to take the good with the bad. I know you would only like the good. I know you only want the admiration and the praise and everybody sucking up to you and kissing your behind all day long, but that's not going to happen. Everything in life comes with a bill. There's opposites. There's day, night, hot, cold, up, down. There's success, and there's all the frustrations that come along with success. It's just the way it is. The more successful you become, the more you're going to have to deal with this kind of stuff, whether it's trolls online, or the paparazzi chasing you around, or tabloids making up stupid stories about you. Everything in life comes with a bill. So don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the troll, just accept the fact that this is the way it is. The sooner that you can accept that the internet is not going to behave itself, the easier this will all be. And you gotta understand that if you try to out-troll the trolls, you're never going to win. That was Rian Johnson's mistake, and dismissing legitimate criticism about The Last Jedi as being sexist and misogynistic is not helpful. And that is the side of this that Daisy Ridley is not really recognizing. She's doing the whole kumbaya, can't we all get along stuff, but she's ignoring how Hollywood has perpetuated their half of this cycle, and she's not accepting the fact that the internet is the wild, wild west. So anyway, that's my views on Daisy Ridley's attitudes. I did say about The Last Jedi, since they came out to bat for Star Wars Theory and cleared the copyright strikes on his fan-made Star Wars movie, I saw that as goodwill towards the fans, so I'm willing to give The Rise of Skywalker another try. I'm gonna go and give them my money, as long as they don't do anything incredibly stupid and insult the fans again, in which case I won't. But yeah, I'm not expecting anything really big out of The Rise of Skywalker or whatever. So, I am Bandit, this is Bandit Incorporated. Until next time, I will see you guys in the comments.